Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the enlightening convo I had with Jen Pike in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. Or figure it out as you go. Maybe you want to do both. Maybe you want to do this first. I don't know.
Pick and choose.
Pick and choose. Maybe one week
we have more than 50 episodes to listen to now.
I know. It's so many. It's so fun. And people have re-listened to certain ones, and I freaking love it.
Yeah.
All right. So we are literally, as you're listening to this, hopefully if it's before the 12th, we are packing up the
we're prepping.
RBG, the Rosebud Globetrotter, which Brad has committed to blogging about.
I have.
Over on onlinepilatesclasses.com. We are packing it up because we are hitting the road for the 4th year in a row.
4th year.
Yeah, to go to Philly, and then we added in Florida this time.
We're going to go all the way down to Miami.
Because we're crazy, but we love our friends. And
it's gonna be great.
I know. So
I think that we may be closer to 6,000 miles on this trip than any of the others.
Yeah, because I don't think the others we hit 6,000.
No, it was like 55 and then 58.
Yeah.
You know, and this one, I think the last year's one was the shortest because we just powered through.
We powered through and we moved to Vegas. We started 4
that
hours
is true.
early.
We definitely...
we cut off 8 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
At least. I think I don't know. I think the first year was like a lot. Anyway, so traffic sucks. Anyways, so because of creative spaces and creative thinking and possibility, we are bringing back the winter tour. So we are doing a happy hour for peeps who love us and listen to this and our members in Denver.
Yep.
Quickie little hot toddy and somewhere in Denver, I think in the low-high area. If you don't know that, then you're probably not from Denver. So no worries. Then we're going to head over to Pennsylvania to do... I think we're in Lehigh Valley for this class, but we say Philly area.
Yeah, so just we're going to be in Denver on the 13th of December.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Say the dates. Then the 19th of December, we have a mat class inside of a fast pitch practice thing that I really
It's going to be a massive venue.
It's
huge.
a massive venue. And the reason for that is we're still in this weird world. So we can spread the heck out and enjoy an amazing space. I'm so grateful to the Fast Pitch Place and Alex and his team for giving us this opportunity to use a space like that in the winter time of Philly so we can be together and spread out. Then we're going to head on the 28th to Atlanta area.
Yes.
It's actually Duluth, where our friend Joel Crosby of Vitality Method Pilates is hosting us to do semi-privates, my fast workshop.
It's basically all day we're going to be at.
We're at his studio all freaking day.
Yeah.
I'm teaching 2 semi-privates. I know 1.5 are sold out, but rock on. Go to the link in the show notes to see what's left. The fast workshop, we have some spots in person and we have a few spots online.
Virtual.
Because Joel is insane. He's got this humongous screen. So it feels like you're there. I haven't taught this workshop in person since, I don't even know.
Maui?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
2019, I think.
Then we're hitting a rooftop in Miami on December 30th.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
I know.
That's going to be a party, actually.
I've taught on that spot before. It is beautiful. It's going to be at sunset. And so, again, we could be outdoors. It's lovely. It's Miami, so it's not freezing cold. Don't worry about it. And a great way to end the year. And then we're going to end in Dallas.
Yeah, on January 4.
Thank you, Alicia.
We're going to be in Frisco.
Yeah, which is like near this like practice field for the Dallas Cowboys. If you love them, you know it. If you don't, so sorry. It's really cool. Anyways, we're going to be in Frisco and we have an equipment class there. So super, super fun. If you want to tour with us.
Yeah, just go to onlinepilatesclasses.com/tour.
Oh, that's a great link. Wonderful.
Yeah. Come join us. Hang out.
I'm so excited to hit the road. I really, really am. Even though I do realize that I'm going to be driving all the way across the country to Florida and then back, but it's going to be an adventure. All right. Babe, do we have an audience question?
We definitely did. And this one is very poignant because it's the end of the year. And the question was, how do you deal with end of the year overwhelm?
Well, how do you deal with it?
I like to bury my head in the sand, pretend that nothing's happening, and ignore everything. Nobody can call me. No, I'm lying. It's definitely, I feel like there's a double obligation. It's not just work stuff, but it's also social. The overwhelm happens with like all the holiday dinners and the friends needing to see each other and the things. And I love every second of that, but suddenly it's like a lot. It's just a lot of stuff. Right. And so I think we are intentional about when we're willing to, leave the house and go out. Also, what projects we are expecting to finish. And I think that we have to give ourselves the space and grace to understand that the holidays are going to take at very least 1 week of your month is officially gone, right?
Yeah.
But it could even be longer than that it depends on where you're traveling from or to and all the things. The end of the year, work really hard until, the week before Christmas and then take time off.
Well, I actually think that this particular episode we're recapping is really helpful because it talks about, Pike talks about, paying attention to patterns in your body and in your life. And something that I think we've gotten really good at this point is that we know how much stuff we have to wrap up so that we can enjoy the end of the year. We don't always get that done. I do recall last year having to cram a few things in during the vacation time, but we have gotten better. In fact, this year I will be filmed through February. We will have this podcast, y'all, next week. We will be recording, or actually while you're listening to this, we'll be recording many of the recaps so that that's done. So what I would say
definitely
is
trying to plan ahead. Whatever
is overwhelming you now, I would actually make time for yourself at the end of this year to plan it in advance throughout next year. So if you don't want to be cramming things in December, then how can you take what you're having to cram in and spread it out over the other 11 months? Because that's the thing. If you actually spread it out over 11 months, it's like this much. You can't see me on the podcast, but I'm holding up my two fingers like this much.
Yeah.
And so last year I was actually a little bit more overwhelmed because I didn't want to be overwhelmed anymore. So I actually had to film extra in a time of overwhelm so that I can get to a point where I will be filmed ahead in everything that we do. And so I definitely am actually excited about this trip more so because I'm pretty much ready. But I wasn't always that way. And so if you are in overwhelm right now, I've been there and it freaking sucks. And I would ask yourself, does it actually have to be done by the 31st?
Yeah, I think for people who are experiencing overwhelm right now, whether it's because of your family obligations or it's because of your work obligations, I think if you're not the boss, that makes things complicated, of course. If you are the boss, are these deadlines arbitrary? Did you make them? Do they really have to be done by whatever date? What can you prioritize instead to make sure that does have to be done on time? Something maybe could be bumped to the next year. When it comes to the family, maybe limit your time with your family on purpose, right? I know that one thing that contributes to overwhelm, especially for people who are introverts, is not having time alone, right? So plan ahead, make sure you have time to recharge. That's a super important one.
Well, I mean, like when we go to your family, we are in their house and our bedroom is next to their bedroom and there's a lot of family gatherings and we want to make sure you see your family because we're only there for a week and that's it for the whole year. And something that I do is I go to bed early.
Right.
I'm like, okay, good night, everyone. And I leave you up with your family. And then I wake up early and I walk the dogs by myself.
Right.
I don't want people to walk with me. That is my private time. And I really am intentional about that. So I would just take note of the overwhelm you're having right now and really ask, you have to be really honest, 30,000 foot view. It's not your personal life. What of this actually has to be done right now? And do you actually have to go to that party? I know you think, oh my God, if I don't go to this party, people are going to notice. People don't notice as much as you think unless the party is in your honor. And then, yeah, you probably show up, but maybe ask
Happy
yourself,
birthday.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the birthday girl?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be so fun to throw the most amazing party and not be at it? I wonder if that's possible. Anyways, I feel you. And what I would say is make an intention this year to set yourself up so you're not in overwhelm next year.
Yeah.
And that is not exactly the answer you're looking for, but I promise you, I'm sitting here for the first time. I think Brad has since he's known me, and I'm not like freaking out about how much I have to get done because I already put it in the schedule, and I'm like, oh, it's all doable.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
So anyways, great question. Send them in to the Beit Pod on Instagram.
Okay, now let's talk about Jen Pike. Jen Pike is a functional diagnostic nutritionist and medical exercise specialist with over 20 years of experience. She helps females recognize the impact that hormones have on every aspect of their body and then helps empower them to become educated in how to use their hormones to their benefit. That's an interesting thought there. She is the founder of the Hormone Project, Synced, and the Simplicity Project. And Jen helps females decode what their body is telling them. So this is pretty fascinating. I'm not gonna lie. The first time we heard Jen talking about this, she did a webinar for agency for our coaching group, and I felt like I was out in left field because I really had no idea what she was talking about, and it made me curious. So I went and started reading about different cycles. I didn't even know it's different phases of the cycle. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then how that makes, a woman feel, or, not feel or frustrated or, whatever. There's just so many different things that are involved with it that it's like far above and beyond anything I actually really understood about it.
I know. And that's crazy because you have a sister and a mother. And
when I say it, I mean, hormonal cycles.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
we're talking about periods here, people.
We are. So something that I find fascinating is how much we don't talk about periods in households and how it is. And we talked about this before, but it's like seen as this like, oh, I got my period today, like as if it's a bad thing. And it's like actually a superpower that women have. It's like really freaking cool. And you had a mom and a sister. Like, this should be things that, like, were very much talked about in your household. Not
100% not talked about in my household.
Something that I love that is changing is that, like, there are women out there who, like Jen, who are changing this. Like, one of our members, UK Claire, she has only sons. And all of her sons are fully aware of pelvic floor health, pregnancy, periods, the human hormones, because she's like, whether or not they marry a woman doesn't matter. They're going to be around women in their life.
Right.
And it's important that we all know this because I think it has a negative connotation when actually it really is this positive, amazing, incredible thing. And I have really tried to change my mindset around, oh my God, my period's here. It's like, oh, okay. Look at this is where I am today. Like it's really cool. And something that I like that we brought up or she brought up was seed cycling. And before you jump into seed cycling, which I know was so impactful for you, I just wanted to say your perspective on your own cycle has changed the way that you live in the past 6 months or so, since 8 months, whenever it was that she was on our webinar, because I noticed that you don't get frustrated with yourself the way that you did before. I know.
And also too, this is a bit strange because when I met you, you didn't actually ever have a period.
That's true.
You never actually had the cycle, and that was because of health reasons.
Yeah.
And that obviously wasn't a good thing, but you never had to deal with it because it never happened. So for 5 years of us being together, it wasn't something you had to deal with. And then surprise, you were getting healthy and suddenly that came back and you were like, what the hell?
Yeah, I got my hormones under control and it came back and I remember being so upset about it. Yeah. Even though it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing.
But that's what I'm saying. You were, suddenly your body was operating the way that it should. And then, you were having to deal with this every month again. And that was actually a perspective. Oh man, I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Right. And it was frustrating you. And, it would actually really, it was impactful to me. I just wanted to say that as well, because when you were frustrated about it, it wasn't like you were frustrated for like the afternoon. It was like you were frustrated for like 5 days.
Yeah.
And so now, ever since you've been, learning about this too with Jen's stuff, I've noticed that you're different.
Yeah.
About it.
I am. And I also will say, I've definitely had the team on a bit of an edge, but I was like, everyone, I'm going to be changing when everything of mine is due based on my cycle. So I'm only going to be filming on one part of my cycle, and I'm not going to be filming on the other part of my cycle, and I'm only going to do these things. And I remember even your sister was like, so the dates of things are going to change every few months? And I was like, yes. And feel free to watch this. And if you need to change your due dates, let's talk about that, because all these ladies should be on the team. All these ladies on the team should be really like working along with their cycle. And I have to say, in the few months that we've been doing my filming on the actual correct time of my cycle, it's been easy. Yeah. And unfortunately, due to I need to film before we go on this road trip, I have to film through this time, and I am resentful.
You can tell the difference. Yeah, because I noticed you've been jumping on filming and with a way more positive attitude. Well, I
always loved. I love what we create, but for whatever reason, the week that we arbitrarily chose for me to film was literally the week of the cycle that I should be by myself.
Right.
And like ruminating and journaling and all these things. And I know that sounds so woo, and it also might sound even privileged because I get to like decide when I do things. But Jen does talk about, at least in our webinar, she talked about how, life happens, but she only has so many set work hours of her day. So no matter what part of her cycle is, if she has to show up,
right,
she can.
It's not for the whole day.
It's not an 8-hour day of teaching classes and being in them. So anyways, y'all, if you haven't listened to this, freaking just go back and listen to this. She is amazing. She has some great resources, but
she's also incredibly knowledgeable.
So knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So we're actually having her inside of OPC. So if you're like in love with her, you should be an OPC member if you're not one already, because she's going to come in January.
And do a webinar for OPC members.
Yeah.
So cool.
I know. I was like, I love you. I want to sprinkle your ish everywhere.
Okay. What was one thing that you loved? I cut you off. You were talking about.
I know. So seed cycling, everyone. So it was a little tricky for me when I was seed cycling and traveling, because bringing seeds to
first
different
off,
countries.
Just like, what the hell is seed cycling?
Okay. So seed cycling, for my ladies who actually have a menstrual cycle, you will eat 2 types of seeds during one part of your cycle and 2 types of seeds during the other part of your cycle. So the day 1 of your period and through day 14, you're gonna do pumpkin seed and flax seed. And I highly recommend this on top of a smoothie. But you just mix it into something you have, or just have a handful of pumpkin seeds as a snack and then toss some flax seeds on a salad or something like that. Then the other part of your cycle is sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. Also fun on a salad. You can also have, there's like sunflower butters and there's like, sesame oil and things like that. But if you're consistent with that, you will notice that your hormones are actually more balanced out throughout the whole part of your cycle, because it's just these foods are actually telling your body like, hey, remember to like create this hormone right now. And it's all healthy. It's all organic. It's really easy to do.
It's literally seeds. We got bags of seeds.
We have bags of seeds. So I did this for a really long time, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, ladies, this is like, okay, this is not even TMI. Boobs get sore during parts of your cycle, and you're like, please don't freaking hug me. And I'm sure during COVID, it's like, oh, thank God, no one's touching me now. But let me just tell you, when I did seed cycling, I never had that problem ever again, and I still don't. And in fact, I don't even seed cycle anymore, but I got my body on a regimen. That's actually part of how we got my period back, was seed cycling. So, because I can't be on hormones. So anyways, I highly recommend it. It was tricky for me in traveling, because I would go, oh my God, I'm going through customs with all these loose seeds. Ziploc baggies. But
yeah, that did look funny.
We did not take him through New Zealand and Australia. I just bought seeds when I got there. But at any rate, if you are someone who's trying to be a little bit more organic, a little bit healthy, unsure of how to track your cycle, you can do seed cycling. Also, my ladies who've gone through menopause, you can seed cycle with the moon. And so I would just Google that, because I actually don't remember how it works with the moon, but you can do that. And also your husbands. And
I was just going to say this. Yeah.
So husbands, men, or just men in a household of women, you can seed cycle the reverse of the moon cycle, because men who live with women for a long time, their testosterone levels go down. Because estrogen is like powerful and real, if we haven't gotten that already from this episode. And so you can do that to keep your testosterone levels a little bit more regulated.
So and that's pretty fascinating. In fact,
that's so cool what the earth can do. Like, I think it's so, we look for all these like things that people have created, but like the freaking earth has already been like, here you go.
Here's your seeds.
Here's your hormones cycled for you.
Well, I was going to say that the thing that I loved about it, this was a good lead up to it, is the stigma of the female body and cycles involving men.
Yeah.
Right. And you kind of already hinted at this with, one of our coaching clients. She has a house full of boys and obviously a husband. And she, so basically she's like the female in the household. Right. Yeah. And I didn't grow up that way. I do have a sister. I do have a mom, and I have a brother and a dad, but we never talked about this. The only thing I ever learned about this was in school, and of course that's funny and awkward and weird and silly and immature.
Yeah.
And so there was never any point where I actually understood. The only thing that I ever understood was that it was the process of going through the period is the woman's body flushing out the unused parts for potentially having a baby, right? That was the only thing I ever really knew. And I knew it happened once a month, and that was the only thing I really ever knew. But I never understood how it affected a woman's mood, like feeling, sensitivity, skin. Like I never, how it completely changes the way you approach things, your enthusiasm for, anything. I never actually understood this other than like the common, stereotype of like, oh, it must be that time of month because, they're upset all the time or whatever. And I don't think that's fair.
Right.
Because that's not actually, of course there is some, a little bit of that there, but that's not like, that's not necessarily a given. Right. And it also, it could be depression. Yeah. Maybe it's not anger. Maybe it's depression, or like stepping away and feeling like you want time alone. Like it could change all these things. And I was never aware of any of this.
It's also like, this is really interesting, but I'm in a breathwork certification, and there's some interesting things that people are doing with this cycle and like studying it all and everything. And the truth is, it's the only bloodshed that actually grosses people out, which makes no sense to me.
Oh, that is?
Because it's a natural thing that happens. It is.
That's an interesting
It
point.
Naturally happens. Women do not have control over when it happens. I mean, unless you do birth control, and then you can mix it around, but I highly recommend you try not to do that because it's not ideal. But it also it grosses people out when like girls have to grab a tampon, and for whatever reason they put it in the most noise making freaking plastic. So embarrassing. And then but then people make fun of them or whatever, or if they see period blood on pants, like, ew, gross. It's like, but that's the only one that's natural. But we have no problem seeing blood in movies where people are shot, or horror films, things like that. Like that doesn't gross people out, but it horrifies people to see period blood on a girl. And that is weird to me. And so anyways.
I think that's just simply immature.
Well, 100%, but that's what's trained in people. So
yeah, it is. It's a stigma. One
of the reasons I brought her on, and I think I talked about this podcast, is that most of you are women who listen to this, and if you are a male, then you have women in your lives, and I want you to know about this. But one of the things that holds women back from being it till they see it is not understanding how their body works.
Right.
And not using the superpowers that we have. And Dr. Bender actually was one of our OPC speakers, and she actually talked about how Olympic athlete females are channeling how they train based on their cycle, and it's actually showing really crazy, amazing improvements in their time and their races that men can't tap into, because men have a 24-hour cycle, not a 28-day cycle or a 27 to 29-day cycle. So anyways, this is incredible information to my female listeners that can literally help you be it till you see it way faster than anything else. So anyways, should we talk about the Be It action items?
No, I wanted to talk a little more about the specifics of that because when you said superpowers, that's a weird way to say it. Okay. So like, how is it possible that like you going through your cycle is a superpower? And it made me just pull up the transcript that we have of last episode because this is one example here, but Jen talks about going through. So first off, your hormonal cycle has phases, right? And she specifically refers to the follicular phase, and she describes it by saying this is where your body, your hormones, and estrogen and testosterone are starting to climb. Your uterine lining is starting to thicken again, and typically where we actually feel more connected to our body. So during the follicular phase, we do well with the estrogen surge. We feel more clear, more focused, more energized. We feel happier. We are gung-ho. We want to create new projects, so there's this window when suddenly you're like really fired up to go be creative and have the energy and the excitement to go do this. So that's when you, Lesley, are filming classes now. Right. Yeah. So that's how this can be a superpower, because when you're ramping up before the peak, and then, when things shift and you come back down again, that's when you're taking advantage of your natural rhythm, of your body to do the more exertion of filming 4 classes in a day, which is like kind of hardcore. So yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to explain how can it be a superpower? It can be a superpower in that way.
Yeah. 100. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's talk about the Be It action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Jen Pike? So for me, I think she kind of threw this in at the very end, basically saying, your body, listen to your body. Your body knows, it tells you things. And I thought this was so funny because I think it was the Be It action item from last week or the last episode. Your body actually signals to you. We were talking about my runny nose, right?
I've been watching for your nose to run. I'm like, is he blowing?
No. It only happens at like 3 a.m. when I'm like staring at a computer and I should totally not be awake anymore at that point.
I'm not awake for that. I can't help you there.
Yeah. But, she's talking about listening to your body. And I think that the reason I'm bringing it up again, even though it was already a point from last week, is looking at it through this lens of your cycle, right? There are your body, and when you're feeling good and when you're not feeling good. Now, there's 1,000 variables: how much sleep, how much stress, how much work, how much food, what are you eating, are you drinking alcohol? There's like so many different things that can change the way that you feel, of course. But, are you able to be sensitive to how your body is feeling during these different phases of your cycle? I think that take a look at, evaluate yourself, think about this over the next couple of months and understand like, wow, I really do feel like I'm on fire, this time of the month. And I really feel like I should just be curling up and reading a book with a cup of tea on this time of the month.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just take out your notes on your phone and just you just write down, I woke up feeling like this and I went to bed feeling like this, and like just track that and then go, oh, wow, look what it is. But I mean, I use apps for that.
I was going to say, why don't you tell them about that?
So Jen Pike actually told us about the Wild AI app, which she's not an affiliate for, and I am not an affiliate for, but I freaking love it. It's actually for people who work out and want to track their cycle. And that's why I chose it over other ones. It's not like a tracker I don't need it. Most of the apps tell you when you're like about to have, like, it's like good time to have a baby. And I'm like, I really just want to know when it's like a good time to not have a baby. But I like this one because it actually says like, on these days, train harder. On these days, don't train as hard. And what I noticed is that the moment I started paying attention to that, I was able to give myself a lot of permission of like, it literally says not to train so hard. So it's okay if you just feel like going for a walk. Cause I'm like, I just feel like going for a walk. I don't want to go for a run. It's like, yeah, cause your body just freaking wants to go for a walk. And your cycle says, I just want to go for a walk right now. And so what's really cool is that if you don't have a doctor that you can call all the time, which I don't, there are some amazing apps, and this one is built by females, which is freaking important, and doctors in women's health. And so that's the app I use. And since I've been using it, my shit shows up on the exact day, all the freaking time. And I'm not surprised. And I have an app that says, this is what you should be eating right now. Like, this is the protein you should be eating right now. This is the carbs you should be eating right now. And it's when you pay attention to that stuff, even if you, especially if you want to have babies someday, this information is important. And if you are beyond having babies, it's still important because it is really part of what makes us feel like ourselves and have that and not guess. So anyways, I love your be it action item you chose.
I just realized I stole yours. Actually, I read them backwards. So that one's yours. And
okay, but it's okay. Cause I'm going to say, listen to your body. The patterns are data.
Right.
So use an app. I hate math. I literally changed my major so I didn't have to do statistics. So clearly I'm not exactly interested in data, but,
no, you are though. That's what you were just talking about with the apps. Like it tells you when you should eat and what you should eat and when and why.
Yeah, but I don't have to analyze it. It just tells me. Yeah. So,
it really, they help you compile the information.
I also think whether you're male or female, like your body really is telling you something. My mom just Marco Polo'd me. She's having TMJ. Right? She's got this thing and she's like, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. It's like, but there are patterns. And if you write it down, like when I was having digestive health issues, that was the interesting thing about it. It was like the pattern was a little odd and we actually thought it was a parasite for a little bit. But when I actually when I actually wrote it down and got really, really like into the data of listening to my body, we were able to figure out, oh, this is why you're not sleeping. This is why I don't have a period. This is why you are too skinny.
Yeah.
And all of that was just really affecting my life and probably shortening the years that I have on this planet, which I am getting back because I have a mission to complete. So anyways, please don't bury or explain away or shove what your body is telling you into a corner until later. Unless you are a brain surgeon, like literally your most stuff can wait till tomorrow. Get some sleep. Write things down, have a little journal, have a note on your phone. Maybe you dictate it, but take some time to get either support with an app or a person to help you figure out the patterns that you're seeing.
And also too, the other action item we were pulling out, the be it action item, was to ask for help when your body seems out of whack.
Yeah.
And, I know that's can be a challenge for many people is asking for help. But I think this makes me recall the conversation with Jennifer Van Barneveld Pay.
Oh, another Torontonian.
Which
they
is
are
where
friends,
I think
actually.
you heard Jen Pike on her pod.
Yeah.
And basically, Jennifer, the question was, how do you run a company now when you have kids? And she said, I got really good at asking for help.
Yeah.
And, Jen Pike said the same thing. Hey, when I already know ahead of time when I'm not going to be feeling great because she's very, she tracks everything very intentionally. So she's like, look, during this time, is when I know I need to be asking for more help. And I think that having this conversation with a partner is going to demystify it. It's going to change it, and it's going to allow for your partner to understand, like, okay, cool, yeah, I can step it up, during this time, and that's actually going to benefit me too.
Yeah, and I think that since we've had her on, because we recorded this podcast a while back, but we had her on in, I think it was like June or July inside the agency webinar. And I literally was like, okay, this is the app I'm using. I'm changing this now. And I know everyone on the team was a little nervous when I was like, I'm going to change all of my due dates on everything based on my cycle. But everyone's getting their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On time.
And we're ahead of time.
With enthusiasm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And I have also been really honest with them. I said, I'm really nervous about getting these things done by this date because of how I'm going to feel. And everyone has been able to go, okay, what has to get done?
Yeah.
How do we make this happen? How can we support? And I don't even feel guilty about that. And I think in the past, before actually appreciating all of this, I think I might have, but y'all, asking for help is also actually really freaking cool. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and power, and you cannot be it till you see it on your own.
That's true.
It makes me think of, My Cousin Vinny, the movie.
Yes.
At the very end, when he gets really mad at Marissa Tomei, whatever her character's name is, because she helped him with the case. She did something to help him with the case. And he's like, I want to do this first case on my own. She goes, oh my God, imagine winning all of your cases. And at the end, you have to say, thank you. Oh my God, what a fucking problem. What a nightmare. And I just think, I wish I understood that when I was a child, because that's when my mom loved that movie. But I wish I'd understood that, because I think I would have been like, it's actually not a nightmare to ask people for help and say thank you. It's actually really freaking cool to not do this alone, and you don't have to do your cycle alone, and you don't have to be it till you see it alone. So
that's true.
All right, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so grateful you're here.
Yes.
How are you going to use these tips in your life? Let us know by sending a DM to the pod on Instagram. Make sure you tag Jen Pike, she's got 2 N's, and myself, and let us know, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fratarelli.
Kevin Perez at Diseño handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.